just to check I'm in the right room, how many of you would like to make a lot more money? Excellent. And how many of you would like a lot more time? Awesome. How many of you would like both? Well, turn to the person next to you, give them a high five and say, you're in the right room. Excellent. Well, my name is Samuel Leeds, and it's great to be here this evening. I'm not 21 anymore. I'm now 26. But I'm here to talk to you today about financial freedom. And the title of the topic is Financial Freedom Never Made Easier. But before we go into this, would it be okay if I just tell you a little bit about myself, as we're going to be spending some time together? Is that okay? Yeah. Great. I like you guys. Okay. Well, so when I was 17 years old, I actually, my church sent me off on a mission trip to Africa. And I went to Kenya, Tanzania, and different parts of Africa. And it was absolutely fabulous. And I was doing a lot of charity work out there. And I got back to England, and it was raining. And I'd been, singing with the people, absolutely no worries, Hakuna Matata, and all this stuff. And then got back, and I was working for my dad at the time for £25 a day. 17 years old, and I was actually an entertainer. So I used to go and do shows and things like that on cruise ships and different stuff. I didn't particularly like it. The money wasn't very good. And I got back, and has anyone had that Monday morning feeling before? Yeah? Times that by 1,000,000? And that's what I felt. And I just thought, I really don't want to be doing this for the rest of my life. How many of you know what I'm talking about, yes? Thank you. Now, so I read a book that somebody gave me called Rich Dad, Poor Dad. My real dad, he's not poor, but I was fascinated by the title, and I read the book, and as a result of that, I don't know exactly how, but I ended up at a property networking event hosted by the man himself, Simon Zushi. Now this is back in around about 2007, and I think there was only about 3 PIN meetings across the country, and I turned up and felt completely out of place, like a kid in a suit, like really, really out of place, fish out of water. And the open networking that goes on beforehand, that must have been like the worst 30 minutes of my life. People would come up to me and say, so what's your strategy then? And I was like, bright red in the face, feeling real. I had no idea. But Simon Zushi, he spoke, he talked about buying properties, using other people's money and other people's knowledge and all this stuff. And I thought, well, maybe I could do this. And I was really excited. And I said to Simon afterwards, I'm going to do this. I'm really excited. Thank you so much. And I got back home and I told a couple of people. I remember being around the dinner table at a family get-together, and it was announced, because by the way, at this point I didn't tell you, I'd quit my job. I just quit my job straight away, because of course, this was going to work out, right? Simon said it was doable and anyone could do it. So of course it was going to work out. So I quit my job to be a property investor. And I remember that moment around the table, and my cousin, he said to me, so you're a property investor now then? I said, yeah. He said, so how many houses do you own? And I just felt ashamed and embarrassed. I've quit my job to be a property investor. I'm 17, I have no money, and I have no houses. Yeah, I'm saying I'm a property investor. And I just thought, what, maybe this is a pipe dream. This is not really going to be for me. Maybe I'll wait 10, 20 years. And then I got a phone call off Simon Zushi. And we were on the phone about 45 minutes. And he basically said, Samuel, you can do this. And he said, Samuel, I believe in you. I'm 17 years old. And from that point on, I thought, you know what? I'm going to do this. I'm going to give it a crack. So these were back in the days when, if you were to, I don't know, how many of you have been investing for quite some time? Okay, awesome. How many of you are pretty new to this? How many of you are property investors but don't have any houses yet? That's okay. You're in the right place. So back in the day, kind of like the strategy that was going around was that you would find a property, and maybe, for example, the asking price and the value would be £120,000. And you would negotiate the price down to maybe, how much? I'm just checking you can see it. If you don't say anything, I'm going to have to write a lot bigger. How much, please? 100, thank you. You'd negotiate to buy it, that would be the purchase price, for £100,000. And then you would very quickly maybe the same day or the next day, refinance it back up to its true value of 120. You'd pull your money out, and effectively it will be a no money down deal. Does anyone remember these days? Yeah? That was how I bought my first house. And I'm not going to spend too much time going into it, because since then the rules have changed a little bit, haven't they? Yes, I say a little bit, they've changed a lot. So I bought my first house like this. Now, I couldn't get a mortgage, so I put the property in my brother's name and bought him a drink. I borrowed the money, cash, and refinanced it actually that same day. And you can go on Rightmove and you can find the address, and you can see it was bought on the 29th of March for 120, and then the next day, and it's really cool. And I was like, oh my gosh, I've got my first house. Now from this property, I rented it out room by room, and the mortgage payments were 166, and the rent was 1,400. I thought, yeah, this is great. I had a few expenses and some bills, but pretty much from that house alone, and this was the week after my 18th birthday, I was kind of set up for life. So I was like, great. So what I did was, I didn't think about doing lots more. The rules changed. They said you can no longer refinance the same day and all this stuff, but I just kind of thought, okay, that's fine. But you know what? I'm making £1,000 a month profit, which is the same as my friends are making, but I'm doing nothing for it because the rent's coming in every month. Great. So I climbed up Kilimanjaro. I recorded an album. I went and recorded a singing album. If you YouTube Samuel Leeds songs, in fact, don't do that. It's really bad, okay? But I had time freedom. And one of the things that I learned, the first rule that I learned was that financial freedom actually isn't that difficult. And you don't need that many houses in order to massively change your lifestyle. How many would agree? If you would say yes. Yes, thank you. So I speak to some people. I know one guy, he's a personal friend of mine. He owns 185 houses. Now that's more houses than I own, but I make a lot more money than he makes. See, so it's not about how many houses you own, it's about what they can do. So that was my first house. I travelled and did some stuff, and then I went to Bible college for 3 years because I had time freedom. I spent 6 days a week studying theology for 3 years. And while I was there, I really kind of came to the, I went out on some different trips. I spent some time in India, in Punjab, and some different places. And I thought, you know what? This house is doing really well. I've done some of Simon's training, and I've got one house, which is great. But I don't want to rest on my laurels forever. I want to actually now buy more houses and be able to make a difference. In fact, while I was in Zambia, I met a boy who walked 14 miles in one day to get some water. 14 miles in one day. And you know what? One of these trips, I just thought, man, you know what? I'm being a bit lazy here, and I'm gonna pull my sleeves up, and I'm gonna do this property thing hardcore. So 19 years old, bought 6 more houses. 21 years old, had a £1 million property portfolio, and was completely financially free. I'm now 26. In the last 5 months, I've bought 5 houses. 3 of them have been HMOs, 2 of them have been lease option agreements, and I've traded over 120 properties in the last 12 months. So thank you. Thank you. You know, so business is great. And it's exciting, and I'm making lots of money for me and some of the staff. But also, last week, I was in Uganda, in Africa. And, you know, I spent a lot of time working in different rural villages, and it's great, you know? And I think that is why I do what I do. I also run a network. You know, when I was 20, I got kicked out of my church because they had the mindset that the more money you have, the more poor people you must have trampled over. And you know, I was really, really misunderstood. And I remember attending, going to church one day after having lots of jabs and quiet meetings, you know. And I attended church one day, and there was the caretaker and one of the elders standing at the door, and they said, "I think you need to find somewhere new to go," you know. And that was really painful for me, and as a result of that, while I was at Bible college, I decided to do my dissertation on biblical economics. And really study, actually, I'm a Christian. I don't try and push my religious beliefs or faith down anyone's throat. But I'm a Christian, and I studied what does the Bible say about money, and actually I came to the conclusion that money is not good or bad. It's a really good tool. And if you hold it like this with open hands and a generous heart, God bless you. The problem is when you start holding it like this, because everything on this earth is leasehold. You know, and as I started coming to some of these conclusions, I began to subconsciously stop sabotaging my success, and that was really what triggered it for me. As a result of that, I set up a Christian business network for Christian business folks, non-exclusive, all welcome, but where we support good people to make lots of money to then go make a difference in the community and across the world. And that has grown to be the largest network of its kind in the UK. We've got 14 branches, we've got staff and different people. Why am I here tonight? Well, every time I come and speak at PIN, I always get emails afterwards of people saying, some of what you taught, I've applied it and I've left my job. Or I've just bought another couple of houses, thanks. Or this was so difficult, but now it's so simple. And you know what, that's really rewarding. I'm not paid to be here. I've come quite a long way. I live in Staffordshire, and out in the country in a lovely barn conversion. I've left my 4-month pregnant wife for the day to be out here, because I believe that in the next sort of 40 minutes, with some of the strategies that we're going to go through, I really believe that there could be some real significant differences to some people right here. So is it okay? Well, I've got nothing to sell. I'm here because I just want to inspire you guys, and all I ask in return is that if something I say results in change or some successes in your life, please email me and let me know. Good? No, that's not good enough. Good, yes? Awesome. I like you guys. And if you treat me well, I'll take you with me as my traveling audience. All right, so we're going to have some fun. I've got some really cool things to go through with you, so please do take lots of notes. If you have questions, that's fine. I will be giving a chance, hopefully, for questions at the end if we get time. If I do go over a few minutes, I know we started late, please feel free to leave any time at 9 onwards. If I do go over a few minutes, I hope that's okay. Is that okay? Yeah. Awesome. I really like you guys. Okay. So, you know, when I started out, when I became successful in property, I started getting invitations for dinner by my ex-school teachers and my school kids' parents and stuff like that. It was really weird. And you know what they wanted to do? They wanted to pick my brain about what? About property. And there's loads of different questions, but the questions boiled down to 4 questions. How many questions, please? 4. Thank you. 4 questions, and the 4 questions boiled down to these 4 things. When's the best time to buy? What about Brexit? What about the new changes? What about this? When is the best time to buy? Next, what are the best properties to buy? What should I buy? Next, where is the best place to buy? And lastly, how do I buy? Especially, how do I buy it with no money? People love to know that stuff. And these, because I started with no money. So these were the 4 questions that pretty much got asked the most. So what we're going to do right now is I am going to answer best I can these 4 questions. Is that okay? Yeah. Now, this is quite simple, but I believe that some of you will learn a fair bit. Okay. Now, this is just my experience. Whose experience? Mine. Thank you. So do with this what you must, but I pray that it will serve you well. Is that okay? Yes? Yeah. Great stuff. So, when to buy? When do we think? Now. Well, the fact that you're here at this property meeting to learn how to buy more properties would suggest that you think now. Why? Why is now a good time? It's what, sorry? It's always more expensive later. What a beautifully well put way. Give her a hand. That's so true. It's always more expensive later. That's right. What else? Why is now a good time to invest? Because what, sorry? There's money to be made right now? Absolutely, yeah. What else? Yes?
People are selling up because they've lost confidence in the market, so there's some good opportunities out there.
Yeah, people are selling up because of the changes in the market, that's right. What about the changes in the market, though? What about Brexit? What do we think? Are we scared about Brexit? Why not? Supply and demand, yeah. Yeah. What about the new tax changes? Opportunity. I like you guys. Okay, I'm in the right room. Absolutely. You guys already know that. I'm not going to spend too much time. My personal beliefs, I've been investing now almost 10 years. And, I mean, I'm young, but I've looked back at history a long way. And history tends to do what, please? Repeat itself. And I personally think that right now in 2017, I think it's the best time to invest in property than it has been in a very long time. That's what I believe. Why do I believe that now's the time to invest in property? Well, you guys have kind of already said it. In fact, Mr. Zushi, he says in his book that properties double in value he says 7 to 9 years. Sometimes people say, I don't think it's every 7 to 9 years, I think it's every 10 years. Okay, fine, so I put 10 on here. Okay, but the point is that over time, properties increase in value. True or true? True, thank you. I mean, you know what? We're on a small island. There's limited, this is a business, supply and demand. Your house is your product and your tenant is your customer. And there's people literally fighting to try and get into this country. We've got protected land everywhere. We've got a shortage of housing and we've got an overpopulation of people. So to say that properties are not going to go up will be a little bit stupid, especially based on history. And guess what? After recession comes expansion. And after expansion comes what? Recession. Absolutely. And we've had, over the last sort of 10 years on the main, a pretty big what? Recession. Thank you. So that probably means that on the way is what? Boom. Yeah. In fact, it's already happening. So I think it's a great time to invest in property. But you guys already know that. So let's move on real quick. So when do we buy? Now, you need to say it like you mean it, guys. Come on, I've come a long way. When do we buy? Now. Thank you. I get a bit excited about this stuff because, you know, this is life-changing stuff. So now, but next, what do we buy? Okay. Let me show you something really interesting. This completely changed my life and how I saw economics and stuff like that a while back. So check this out. Bank. If you put money in the bank, you're going to get a high return investment or a low return on investment? Low return on investment. How low? 0.5%. And would that be considered good? About 0.5%, yeah? So let's say you're going to put money in the bank, because I remember when I was a kid, I used to think, I want to put money in the bank and I want there to be so much money that I can live off the interest. How stupid is that? How much money are you going to need? I mean, let's say you put money in the bank. Let's say you put in the bank £50,000, which is a fair sum of money. That's a fair sum of money. You put £50,000 in the bank, and your interest on that, I mean, is going to be a pittance, isn't it? Yes? So let's say you put 50 grand in the bank and you wait a real long time and you leave the interest to accumulate. And you wait, you're going to have to wait an awful long time. Let's say you wait 10 years. Okay, after 10 years of waiting to see what happens to your £50,000, your £50,000 will be worth approximately how much? 55, someone said. Any advances on 55? No. 15.5. Guys, your £50,000 after 10 years will be probably around about £36,000. How so? Inflation. As cost of living goes up, but the money stays the same, the money becomes worth less over time. Check this out. Money depreciates in value. I did this presentation to a group of bankers a few months ago. I was pretty scared. I was like, you put your money in the bank? I said, after 10 years, do you know how much it is? I said, it's actually, I didn't even give him a chance to answer. You know, I was like, it will be, and I wrote it really tiny. No, not like this. I'm like, 36! I was like, about 36? And they were like, yeah. They know this stuff, of course. I'll give you an example. Money depreciates in value. But could someone at the back get me a glass of water? That'd be wonderful. Okay, 10 years ago, if you were a millionaire, 20 years ago, even more so, 20 years ago, if you were a millionaire, bravo. Bravo. Today in 2017, everybody's a millionaire. Why? Because £1 million today is worth a lot less than it was 5, 10, 20 years ago. Makes sense, yes? By the way, when I ask you, how many of you notice that I ask a lot of questions? Yes, the reason is because if I ask you a question like, does that make sense? And you kind of go, I'm going to have to drill it and keep going and on and on and on the point. But if you go, yeah, makes sense, I can then move on. So if we want to finish at 9:10, that's cool. If you want to finish at 12 midnight, then just keep quiet. Is that okay? Yes? Yes. Thank you. Right, so £50,000, put it in the bank, you wait 10 years, it's then worth £36,000 because money shrinks in value over time. However, if you put that same £50,000 into a house and you wait the same 10 years, how much is the £50,000 going to be worth? 100,000? No. Here's the thing. Check this out. The rents, I'm not even including rents. Forget rents. That's an added bonus. Here's the thing. Unless you bought the house for cash, tell me, is that the deposit or is that, yeah? Well, most people would probably tend to get a mortgage from a beautiful mortgage guy at the back. So tell me, what doubles in value? The deposit on the house or the value of the house? Value. Correct. So you put down £50,000 on a house that's worth about 200, yes? You wait 10 years, and after 10 years, it's increased to how much? £400,000. We call this leverage. And that, my friends, is how most people get rich. That's it. Have you ever played Cash Flow 101? No, it's a game, Robert Kiyosaki made it up. And you can buy houses and different things, and you try and become financially free. And the way to win, if you've played this game, you'll know, is to buy a few houses, and then you'll be getting a bit of passive income, and it's all going okay. And okay, I'm getting a bit of passive income. And then suddenly, inflation, the houses go up in value, and boom, you sell one, you buy a load more, and boom, you become financially independent. That's how most people get rich. And that is also, you could have the same two people. You could have who went to the same school, live on the same street, not married the same wife. You know, best friends from school that have the same qualifications, have the same job, and have the same paycheck and save the same amount of money each month. Both save £50,000. One puts £50,000 in a house. One puts it in the bank. One ends up rich, one ends up broke. And that is why communism doesn't work. I didn't make up the rules, but this is the truth. Makes sense, yes? Yes. So, in regards to what to buy, I mean, seriously, some people can get really kind of like scared over, oh, I just bought the wrong property. And you can buy the wrong property. But pretty much, who here is brand new to property? Okay, Sophie, you're brand new. Is it your first time at PIN? Yeah. I can see from the line. Great. Okay, it's your first time at PIN. And have you got any properties currently? Great. Okay, Sophia, imagine if right now I blindfolded Sophia. I took her to the nearest train station. Where's the nearest train station? Where? Bushbury. That's near where I live. Bushy. Yeah. Okay. This story's getting really weird now. Bushy. All right. I take her to the nearest train station, blindfolded, and I drug her. Okay. And so this is not a true story. Don't worry. Okay. I have a point to this story. All right. Serious. And I spin around, and I put her on the train, and she's like, oh, and she falls asleep, and she wakes up, and she has no idea what day it is or what time it is. No idea. She has no idea what city she even is in. She could be back in Bushy, or she could be in Scotland. She has absolutely no idea where she is. She gets off the train, and then I lead her by the arm into the nearest estate agents. She walks into an estate agent's blindfolded. She knows that there's the board here of houses. She touches it. She goes, Mr. Estate Agent? That one. Okay. And the estate agent says, what do you mean, that one? She goes, I mean, I want to buy that house. And they say, but you can't even see it. And she says, I know, but I just heard a presentation about houses doubling in value, and I just want to buy that house. And they said, but you don't even know what the asking price is. You don't know how much you're going to buy it for. You can't even see it. And she says, I will pay the asking price. Okay, imagine that happened. Would she be smart or would she be stupid? Smart, stupid. All right, well, Sophia, let me show you what would happen if you did that, okay? What's the average house price in the UK? 240? 220? I do this presentation up north, and they say, 40 grand? Okay, I do it here, you're like, man, 250, 300, average? I tell you, the average house price, it depends how you work out the average, if you use the mean, the mode, or the median, but the average is 165 in the UK. You can check it out, but does that sound feasible, yes? Yeah. Thank you. So if you buy a house for 165, Sophia, you're going to have to put down a deposit, right, of around about, usually, about 25%. Now, you can pay a lot less than that if you have a really good broker, but 25% is about standard. Guys, is this fair, yes? Yeah. Right, so you're going to put down 25%, and 25% of 165 is how much? Oh, wow, Samuel, you're beautiful. Okay, it's going to make the math really hard in a minute, isn't it? Okay, so that's the deposit. So that's how much you're going to put down, okay? Just on the deposit. Of course, you're going to have a few legal fees and different stuff and bits and bobs. We're going to try and keep this a little bit simple for a second. Is that okay, yes? So 41,250 is the deposit. And then your mortgage payments. Wow, that's the mortgage, yeah. This guy's good. Okay, so if you take that fee, 123,750, that's right. That's the outstanding mortgage. That's your debt. You're going to have to pay probably, what percentage on a normal buy-to-let property? How much? Between 2 and 3%, so also 3%. Is that fair, yes? So what's 3% of 123,750, Samuel? Oh, that was me thinking he's doing it on his head. What is it? Monthly. Actually, yearly. Whatever. 371,250 per month. Oh. £309 is the monthly mortgage payments. Is that right? Yes? Yeah. How much is average rent on a 165 house in the UK? 800? 1,000? 600? Okay, it's actually a little bit less. It's actually average rent is 775. Sound feasible? Yes? 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 Thank you. So, now, I know there's a few other little bits and bobs of costs, like you're going to have your insurance and different stuff like that, okay? But, I'm no mathematician, but if your monthly rent is 775 and your mortgage payments are 309, you're in profit. Yes? Yes. So, let's say, I mean, on this occasion, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, you're like 450 odd pound a month in profit. But you are going to have a few expenses. Of course, you're going to have a few, you're going to have your stamp duty and things like that. So let's be fair about this. So let's say you put down a total of 50,000 and you make per month £400. Is that about fair? Yes. Great, you tell me, because you're obviously all investors, or mostly. So you put down, how much please? 50. And that's your investment. And then you're getting back how much, please? 400 per month, which is how much per year? 4,800. And that's your annual profit, which means that your return on investment is about 9.5%. True? So so you buy a house blindfolded. By the way, is 9.5% good? So you buy a house blindfolded from a random estate agent and you don't even look at it. And what would probably happen based on averages is you'd be getting around about 9.5% return on investment, and your property would be going up in value and it would be leveraged as well. Pretty good, yeah? So imagine what would happen if she bought a house without a blindfold on. If she can get 10% return and obviously have all the capital appreciation and everything, buying a house blindfolded, imagine what would happen if she bought a house without a blindfold. Imagine what would happen if Sophia bought a house not blindfolded and had just done some training and talked to some investors and had got a strategy together. Wow. she could take over the world. So what we're going to do right now is we're going to talk about how to bring that 9.5% up to more like 25, 30%. Good? So if I can show you how to make 30% return on investment quite comfortably, quite easily, would that be a worthwhile presentation? Yes? Yes. Thank you. Right. So firstly, we're going to play a little game. And this game is fun, but also educational. All right. Are you ready for this? Yes? Yes. Oh, you're not ready. You ready for this? Yes? Yes. All right. Here we go. So I'm going to show a couple of houses. Both houses are mine. And I just want to pretend that we're on auction right now. And I'm going to say, which house do you want? And you're going to tell me which one you want, okay? So these are the two houses. There's this one and there's this one. And guys, do you want the bushy one or the dirty one? Okay, I don't know. Oh, wow, this is getting really dodgy. Do you want the left one or the right one? This one's the left one. This one's the right one. Left or right? Left. Right, so you've got no questions before you buy?
Which one's in Mayfair?
Which one's where?
Mayfair.
In Mayfair. Do you only buy in Mayfair? All right, have you got questions, yes? All right, what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you a chance to ask your questions. So, in fact, just all say your question together at the same time. 1, 2, 3. Oh, wow, you know what? Some of you kind of went, when you realised no one else was talking. So this time I want you all to answer a question, and whichever one I happen to hear the loudest, I will answer. And we're going to pretend for real that this is a real life, you've got one question, and I'm going to answer it, and then you have to buy one. So don't, try and be clever and say silly things. What are you actually going to ask? If I'm going to say to you which one, I'm going to answer one question and that's it, and then after I've answered that question, you have to buy one and make a decision. What is that one question you're going to ask? Okay, so think about it hard, and 1, 2, 3, go! Oh wow, hold on. This was wow, that was like a real, you all answered, but I didn't hear one resounding question. So here's what I'll do, I'll do this the fairest way. Who is new tonight? Okay, all right, Suzanne. I feel the connection already. All right, Suzanne, did you ask a question a moment ago? And you're new. What was your question? What's that? Where is it? Very good. Give her a hand. Very good. Who else is new? Okay, Ellie, what was your question? What's the rental payments? Give her a hand. Give her a hand. And then one more question, all right? Who's new? Yes, what's your name? Eva. And what was your question? What's the potential? I like it. Give her a hand. Awesome. So I've got a few questions, and we're going to go through in a second and look at those. Now, so you're actually going to buy it. Come on, what are you going to say? I'm going to say to you, right, I'm going to answer that question. I'm going to tell you what the potential is, and I'm going to say you've got to buy it. What do you want to know before you buy it? What do you want to know? How much? The price? Yeah? So you've got lots of questions. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to answer. I did a survey with over 900 investors, and they asked loads of different questions. Some of them said, what's the potential? Some said, what's the rent? Some said, what's the garden like? Some said, what's the neighbour's dog like? Some said, how much? Some said, where is it? Some said, what street? Some said, who lives next door? Some said, has it ever had drug dealers before? They had loads of questions. But the top two questions that they asked, would you like to know what they are, yes? The top two questions that with a survey of over 900 investors, the top two questions were this. The first one was, what do you reckon?
Which one would you buy?
Which one would I buy?
You know all about them.
Yeah, in fact, you know what? This house, I lived in it for a week in January, and the BBC One, came and filmed it because they were so intrigued. So that'll be on over the summer, 9 o'clock, prime time, BBC One. Anyway. Okay, so the two questions. The number one question, which was asked by over 900 investors, was, well, how much is it? Yes? So I'll tell you. This one's 110. This one's 160. Number two question was, they're actually going to buy it. They want to know how much it is, and they want to know, where is it? Yes? Yeah. So, whoopsie. This one's in County Durham. This one's in Birmingham. Which one do you want? Birmingham. But this one has a castle nearby. Okay. You know what? Here's the lesson in this. Okay, we have loads and loads of different questions when buying properties. When I'm buying properties, I have one leading question that I want to know before buying a house. And that question is, and you said it, Ellie, that is, I want to know, well, think about this, okay? A property is supposed to be an asset, yes? To buy and get as an investment. An asset is what? Robert Kiyosaki says an asset is something that puts money into your back pocket every single month, yes? So the better the asset, it means the more what? Money will come into your back pocket via what means? Rent. So I 100% agree. So the first question that I want to know, before I know even where it is, or what colour the front door is, or even how much it is, the first question I want to know is, how much rent am I going to be able to get from this house? Does that make sense? So for instance, in this occasion, in fact, here's the really funny part. The 900 investors, when they had this information, now you guys are obviously well educated because you've got a brilliant PIN host, Michelle, and some of you have got some experience, and you've probably read Simon Sushi's book. But most people, most professional investors at this point said that they would be more inclined to go for this one. Why? Because it's cheap and it's pretty. This one is expensive. I know not for you because you're from London. But this one is expensive and it's ugly. Yeah, this one gives me £400 a month rent, and this one gives me £1,500 a month rent. So the key is to go in and find, well, what is the return on investment going to be? Now, this is quite straightforward, I know. But there's so many investors, I mean, so many people that say, oh, I'm buying a house. I say, oh, great, where? Liverpool. Okay, why Liverpool? Well, because my son's moving to university to live in Liverpool. Okay. And I thought it might be able to, kill two birds. Don't buy property to kill two birds. Okay, like 101, property investing, don't try and kill two birds. Or, oh, I'm buying this house. I just had a really nice feeling about it. Guess what? Professional investors buy with formulas, not feelings. Agreed? Yes. Formulas, not feelings. So what are the formulas, and how do we establish, how do we get properties with a high return? Well, firstly, you know what? Personally, if I'm buying a property for 160 and it's giving me 1,500 rent, I don't really care where it is that much. I mean, some people get really obsessed with things. We'll get there, okay? Firstly, don't get emotionally involved, okay? It doesn't matter about your feelings. It doesn't matter about, I think this was me, actually, when my second house fell through, when the Mortgage Express went bust, and I could no longer buy my house or refinance it the next day, and the deal fell through. And I learned this. Discipline your disappointment. I'd already learned to celebrate my success. That's very important. But discipline your disappointment. Discipline your feelings. Investments are not for show. My friend owns both these houses. Guess how much this one makes him a month profit? £150 a month. This one, minus £50 a month. These are just a handful of mine. This one makes me £1,000 profit a month. This one, £950. This one, about £800. But they're really ugly. Yeah, the ugly houses are usually the best. It's about formulas, not feelings. I mean, I've got different formulas I could go through with you, but you know what? We haven't got too long together, okay? So instead, I'm just going to summarize all the different formulas that I have into a poem. I made this poem up while I was at PIN, Worcester PIN. I just made it up, ad lib. I made this poem up, and I got a standing ovation. Now, I'm not expecting a standing ovation or anything, but would you like to hear the poem, yes? Yes. You don't want to hear it. Come on, would you like to hear the poem, yes? Yes. All right, here we go. It goes like this. Okay, it's real deep. Summarizes my philosophy of property investing in a couple sentences which rhymes. Here we go. Buy low, rent high, with a property manager nearby. Thank you. You know what I mean? Seriously. I mean, here's the interesting thing, okay? If you buy a house for £100,000 and the rent is £700, and then you buy a house for £200,000, will the rent be double because the value is double? No. Here's the thing. There's no correlation between the value of the house and the rental value of the house. Okay? Now, this is really interesting because I rent a lot of rooms out. I rent a lot of HMOs and multi-lets, and I've learned something really interesting, and that is this. if I buy a house in Bristol for £350,000, the rooms will rent out for about £400 each. If I buy the same house in Birmingham or Wolverhampton or Stoke-on-Trent or Derby, I'll pay about £100,000 for it, which is like almost a quarter of the price. But the rent will go from 400 to 350. Buy low, rent high. Oh, but I don't want to buy in Derby because I live in Bristol. And it needs to be near my area because I need to dominate my ground. I don't know. You know what? This is my opinion. Whose opinion? My opinion. Okay? And my opinion is this. I spent the whole of October in Africa. I spent the whole of November in California. I spent the whole of December in Thailand. I got back there and went around Europe and different places. Does it matter if the house is in Bristol or if it's in Scotland? No. Why not? Because I'm not going to manage it anyway. People say, it needs to be within about 45 minutes just in case there's a problem. Guess what? That's a really bad plan A. If just in case there's a problem it needs to be near my house, that means it's not financial freedom. That means it's a rope around your neck. True or true? I know some of you are now maybe feeling a little bit, I just felt the air, leave the room. You know? But the thing is, if you have systems in place, you can buy anywhere. But this is good news. Okay, I don't want this to be like, this is good news because it means it liberates you to buy anywhere you want. Anywhere you want. As long as you've got a property manager or a power team in the area. Does this make sense? Yes? Yeah. So buy low, rent high, property manager nearby. If I could just say one thing, that would pretty much be it. What kind of properties do I buy? How do I get that kind of return? In fact, let me just, I'll just give you a little example of something right here. You know when I gave you an example here of the house that was £165,000 with a rent of how much? 775. I mean, would it be right if I tell you about the last house that I bought? Yeah. Okay, tell about is that okay, yes? Yeah. All right, last house that I bought. £79,000 was the purchase price, which means that the deposit is a lot less. The deposit's how much? 20. About 20,000, a tiny bit less for the deposit. Which means my mortgage payments are much less. How much? Well, my mortgage is about 150 a month, yeah. I'm actually paying 162, so pretty much bang on. Mortgage payments per month, and my rent on a 79 grand house. How much? 500. £1,400. That's the last house that I bought. And you know what? It completed 6 weeks ago, and I'm already getting that rent. Good or good? Oh, but of course there was, you know, you can't work out the return from that because of course there's going to be a refurb and things like that, yes? So this is a multi-let, a HMO, and I'm renting it out. It's basically got 2 reception rooms and it's got 2 reception rooms and 3 bedrooms. And I'm renting each room out for $350. And this room right here, it was a reception room, but I turned it into a bedroom. And then I rented it out also for $350. And the refurb on this house, how much do you reckon to turn, you know, a 79 grand house into a HMO? 5 grand. 25. 10. £4,500. So very close, Mario. £4,500. My builder lied to me in the early days. My builder told me that for an average HMO, you're talking £50,000. That's what he said. You know what? Do you know how I turned the reception room into a bedroom? You know what? It does take some complexities in architecture. Because what you need to do to turn a reception room into a bedroom, what you need to do is you need to put a bed in it. This is not complicated stuff. You know, it's serious. So £4,500, fire doors, smoke alarms, a little bit of carpet and paint, and boom, it's beautiful. You know what? If you saw that house, you'd be like, wow, it's like a hotel inside. Beautiful, absolutely beautiful. So what's my return on investment? Well, £20,000 deposit plus £4,500 plus my stamp duty and my legals and everything. It actually ended up also I did furnish it as well, and the furniture was like amazing. All in, you're talking around, it was about £32,000. Okay, for everything. Yeah? So £32,000 is my upfront investment, and my annual profit is pretty much what I usually do. To keep things simple. With a HMO or a multi-let, your rent, half of it is out the window straight away on expenses. What are your expenses? In my case, £300 on my bills, £200 on my management fees, £162 on my mortgage payments, and then a little bit just for insurance and stuff like that. So it works out to be £700. And that's including all the management, all the bills, all the mortgage payments. Which leaves me with £700 a month, which is per year £8,400. £8,400 is my profit each year. To work out the return on investment, you take the profit each year and you divide it by the deposit. And if you do that, Samuel, it comes down to how much? 26.25%. Good, yes? Yes. Any questions on that before we move on?
Where is it?
Oh. You know what? I said I had 4 questions. I think I'm going to have time to answer 3 of them. And the next one is, where is it? Would you like to know where it is?
Yes.
You don't want to know. Would you like to know where it is?
Yes.
All right.
Not bushy.
Bristol, no. Bushy. All right, I'll tell you where it is. You know, in fact, let me tell you a bit of background right now, okay? When I started out investing, my first house that I bought was in this little place in Birmingham. You see, my builder, he lied to me. He told me that the only area that works for multi-lets is this little place called Bourneville, where they make the chocolate, Cadbury. He said, you see, London is the biggest city in the UK. It's the capital. The problem with London is it's really freaking expensive. And if you buy in London, you're not going to get the returns. The second biggest is probably Birmingham. Birmingham is also expensive, but much cheaper. And the thing is with Birmingham is the north is cheap and tacky, the south is expensive, the middle is just flats, but right outside of the middle, a few miles away, is this little place called Bourneville with a train station which can take you straight into the centre, and it's brilliant, it's the gold mine, it's the area for HMOs. Guess where he lived? Bourneville, yeah, he did, yeah. He lived in Bourneville. My friend went and bought a house, similar to my little one, the first one I showed you that I bought and refinanced. I was making rent from, I was like, yay. My friend went and bought a house, so I bought the first one in Bourneville, second one in Bourneville, third one just outside of Bourneville. My builder said, should be just about okay, son. Next time come a little bit closer to Bourneville. And then my friend went and bought one in Wolverhampton. I said, Wolverhampton? Now at the time I was like 18 years old, 19 years old, you know, I was a teenager, so I was still getting experience and stuff, so I was managing his properties for him to really just immerse myself in HMOs and properties. I said, I don't think I'm going to be able to rent out your rooms in Wolverhampton. He said, okay, I'll find someone else. I said, well, you know, I think I'm going to struggle, that's all, because it's not in Bourneville. You see, London's the biggest. He said, it's fine, son. If you want to manage it, fine. If not, don't. I said, no, I'll give it a go. But don't come running to me if I don't rent the rooms out. He said, it's fine. His house in Wolverhampton, the rooms rented out for faster and for more money than mine in Bourneville. And he bought the houses for cheaper. I said, wow. There's 2 areas that work for HMOs. And then I found the truth of it. And this is the truth of it. Are you ready for this? There's actually, I'll list the areas where people are looking for HMOs, okay? You ready for this? Get ready. You might need to take this down. Yeah, okay. It's they're looking for HMOs everywhere! Everywhere! Someone name a city. Liverpool. Guess what? There are people right now looking for rooms in Liverpool. Someone name another city. Manchester. There's people looking in Manchester. This could take a while. Should we get some food? I mean, all right. Here, I'm going to prove this right now. I'm going to get my phone. I'm going to go to this little website called spareroom.co.uk. And spareroom.co.uk, for anyone that doesn't know, is this little website where people advertise themselves. They're young professionals that say, hey, I'm looking for a room. Anyone got any rooms around? Okay. Now, Tobias, yeah. You can be my witness. Yeah. You can try and make my life hard right now. You can name the worst city you can think of, where surely the houses are so cheap there, no one's looking for a room. And you watch, there'll be people looking for rooms, and their budget will be around about £350 a month. Do you know why? Because their budget doesn't really change. So, someone name a city in England. Chesterfield. Is Chester, is that the city? Chester? Okay, we'll do Chester. That's what you said first. Type in Chester. We can do Derby as well, but type in Chester and then type in looking for rooms or look,
Search rooms,
Yeah. No. Not search for rooms. Search for people looking for rooms.
Okay, yep.
Yeah. Hold on. Don't tell me anything. Just look for people searching for rooms. Yes.
Okay.
Don't tell me anything. Hold on. Shh. I'm thinking. I'm going to make a prediction. Have you done it? Okay.
I don't know. I've never used it.
Guys, sorry, it's my fault. It's my fault. I shouldn't have picked him.
Search flatmates?
Yes, search flatmates. Okay, and then don't say anything. Just press it. Okay, hold on. I'm gonna make a prediction.
Done it.
Shh. New today in Chester.
There's a few.
New today, and how much are they looking to pay each month?
700.
And it's today. And then there's another one. New today. How much?
325.
And then there's another one. How much?
400.
And then another one.
90 per week.
90 per week. And then another one right there.
400.
And there's what? Pages and pages of people new today looking for rooms. Thank you. Someone name me the city. Newcastle. Hold on. Type in Newcastle, and we're going to just do this. This is the last time. So has anyone got a really bad city they want to do? Stoke. Whatever. What do you want to put? Adam, you can choose. Put a really bad one.
I did Newcastle.
Okay. Right, and then search for flatmates. How many people? What's going on?
Yep.
New today.
229 results.
Oh yeah, new today. Yeah.
Yep.
New today. Pages.
Yep.
Pages. While we've been in this meeting, there's been people looking for rooms in Newcastle, and guess what their budget is? Around about how much? 350. Interesting. So that is why my strategy. I'm thinking, well, hold on a minute. If there's people looking for rooms everywhere, and their budget's kind of the same, wouldn't it make sense to find a city whereby the houses are cheap, whereby I can rent the rooms out like this, buy it, find a HMO manager in the area, and rent it out? I mean, serious. And you know what? You can say that sounds good in theory, but what about in practice? It's what I do. And to put my money where my mouth is, this one guy in one of the meetings that I was at about 6 months ago, I said, name a city. And he went, Stoke. Stoke-on-Trent, he said. He said, ghost town. And I went, okay, we did the game. And we looked, and there's about 3 people new that day. And I was like, nah, new today, it kind of worked. And this house was in Stoke. And I'm getting that. And I think even 1 or 2 people from the room might have even seen the house. I know I've taken some people out. Ben, you've been out with me, haven't you? Yeah. And you've seen the kind of houses. In fact, when me and Ben went out together, we clinched a lease option agreement on the spot, right? I haven't got time to go into too much more details. Has this been useful?
Yes.
I've got a couple minutes left, so I'm going to just try and give you another couple nuggets before we close. But if anyone wants more info on this kind of stuff, I have put together a video series, all right, which I'll mention at the end, which is basically me and this flip chart and my wife filming, not this flip chart, but a flip chart that looks just like this. And my wife films me, and I go into a lot more detail over some of this stuff. Also, by the way, who's read my book? Oh wow, I'm not as famous as I thought. Okay. Ben, come on, man, help me out here, buddy. All right. Yeah, I've got a book on Amazon. I've sold 25,000 copies in the last 3 months, and it's great. I'd recommend reading it. All right, where to buy? Where do we buy? Anywhere, absolutely anywhere. Whoa, what about, are there some areas that are oversaturated? You know what? There are some areas where you can't buy because there might be Article 4 or different reasons. But in regards to, just remember, this is a business and it's about supply and demand. Just remember that. And there's more and more landlords doing HMOs. Yes, there are, but there's more and more tenants wanting to rent rooms as well. All right, so yeah, how do you buy? There are ways where you can buy with no money. I wish I had longer, but I am going to have to wrap up. But as I say, I've done 2 lease option agreements in the last 5 months where there have been no money down deals. Lease option agreements, they're incredible. You get buy now, pay later, but with a house. You don't want to do buy now, pay later with anything else. If you do it with a car, you'll agree to pay the price down the line, you'll buy it now, and then in 5 years when you go to buy it, you'll be like, oh man, I'm paying over the odds now. Whereas with a house, opposite. Agree it now and then later, boom, and you've got all the money monthly as well. So if anyone would be interested in receiving the videos, in fact, you know what? I love Pin. I said I wasn't going to sell anything, which I'm not. So here's what I'll say. Anybody right now, today, from Pin that would like to receive the videos, to save my voice, because what usually happens is people call me a lot after these events, anyone that is interested can have access to them for free. Good? Yeah. Thank you. Also, if you'd like a copy of the book, you know what, I'm really sorry. The book, which is Buy Low, Rent High, I was supposed to bring some tonight, but I completely forgot. So I'm really sorry. So if you would like a copy of the book, I would also be happy to gift that to anybody for free as well. Good? And you know what? Why do I do that? I said at the beginning, I love Pin. Simon Zushi got me into property. He changed my life. I come here because I want to hear the success stories. I'm really busy. I'm a director of a charity, full-time, and non-for-profit organisation. I'm really busy, but I do want to leave a legacy. I do want to help as many people as I can to be successful in property. So all I would say is if you would like to receive access to the video series and also receive a free copy of it'll be a hard copy, not a Kindle or anything, a hard copy sent to you in the post. All you need to do, just drop me a text. This is my personal phone number. If you ring it, I will answer, or my PA will answer. If you text me, I will find it. It's my personal number. Just let me know who you are and also where you want me to send the videos over to. So let me know your name and email. And what I'll do is I'll send you all the videos, and I'll also send you a copy of the book. Now, there is 2 conditions. One is if you read the book and like it, let me know. Leave a review on Amazon or something like that. Secondly, the book is a gift from me, but I do ask that you text me tonight, because if I'm in Uganda, or even worse, if I'm in the bath in 2 weeks' time, and I'm like, oh, this is nice, and then my phone just over there, bzz, I'm like, oh man, I want to leave it. No. And I get out of the bath, and I look, and it's one of you guys texting me about the book and the videos. Guess what? That's getting deleted, all right? Fair, yes? All right, serious. If you want to, do text me tonight, okay? It makes my life so much easier. I do ask as well that you pay for the P&P for the book, but the book is a gift. Videos, you'll love them. So ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for your time. God bless you, and I'll see you soon. Thank you.